You have never watched a black and white film, the first one that I would ever recommend to you is my favorite film, All About Eve. I'm going to give you the rundown, but you still got to see it because it's a lot. The film starts with Eve Harrington winning an award. Everything that happens in this film happens within the time span of 6 months. Keep that in mind. Okay. Day 1. Karen invites Eve to come backstage to meet Margo. Karen is Margo's best friend and also the wife of Lloyd, who is the writer of the show that Margo is currently in. Margo Channing is a Broadway star and that bitch. Eve Harrington is from Wisconsin and was married to a man named Eddie who was in the military service. She was due to meet him in San Francisco while he was on leave when she found out that he had died in service. While in San Francisco, she happened to go to a show that Margo Channing was in. She fell in love with the show and followed Margo Channing all the way to New York, where she has been seeing the show ever since, every single night. Margo, even though she is very cynical about fans, has a soft spot for this girl and takes her under her wing. This is Margo's housekeeper and right hand, Birdie. Birdie ain't playing that. She think the sob stories sound a little bit too sob story-ish, and she feel a little funky about Eve. Now everything is fine until Eve calls Bill for his birthday and sets up a party for when he gets back. Now Bill is Margo Channing's man. He is also 10 years younger than her. She just turned 40 and he is 30. Now, Eve claims that she knows that the call and the party is something that Margo would have wanted, but Margo is like, why is you even thinking about my man? Don't even think about my man. Day of the party, Margo is kikiing with Birdie, and she's like, shouldn't Bill be here by now? She said, oh yeah, Bill's been here for about 20 minutes. Where he at? Birdie don't even say nothing. She just look at Margo. Margo walked out the door, ran down the stairs, and then stopped at the banister just to hear their little kiki conversation. Fasten your seatbelts. It's gonna be a bumpy night. Look, her dress has pockets. Margo is literally having a pity party, having them play one sad-ass song on the piano the whole time, even though this is supposed to be Bill's birthday party. They having a little mini party on the stairs talking about Hollywood and Broadway and all that good stuff. And even though her part was kind of small, Marilyn Monroe was so good in this movie. I love her so much. Well, Margo decides she want to get this girl out her house, so she has her other associate, Max Fabian, take her in and hire her. Well, coincidentally, around this time, Margo's understudy is pregnant, so she can't be Margo's understudy no more. So now they got to find another understudy for Margo. Well, they needed somebody to read with Marilyn Monroe's character because Margo was 2 hours late, and Eve was there. She read, did a brilliant job. So now she's Margo's understudy. Now, unfortunately, Margo finds all this out from Addison DeWitt, who is an esteemed theater critic, but also very messy. So he made sure that she knew how well Eve read that part and how well Eve was received by everyone. Margo is not happy at all. So then Bill tries to reason with her, and he like, baby, I want to be with you. What is the problem? And she's like, you never gonna understand what it's like. I'm 40, you 30, she 25. She clearly want to be me. You closer to her age than you are to my age. What do you think is about to happen? And he like, baby, I'm not, what is the, and she like, I'm never going to be able to get over it. Like, it's just, it is what it is. So we just, I guess it just is what it is, and we just not going to work. Bill been chasing after her this whole movie, but he was like, all right, well, I guess it's not going to work. And so he leaves. And she cries. So Margo and Bill were supposed to be going with Karen and Lloyd that weekend to like a little couple's getaway, but Bill was mad, so he ain't go, but Margo still went. Karen, who was supposed to be Margo's friend, decides she's going to teach Margo a lesson about treating Eve so poorly by pretending to run out of gas on the way back so that Margo can't make it back to be in the show on time, and Eve gets to be in the show as her understudy. In the car, Margo ends up being very apologetic about blowing up on everybody and kind of gives a heartfelt speech about what it's like being a woman. And like, she's an actress, she's all these things, but at the end of the day, she's still a woman and she just wants her man to be there at 6 o'clock when she turns around. And of course, Karen feels bad as hell, but they don't make it back. Eve ends up in the show, and just by coincidence, all these theater people and critics are at the show to see how amazing Eve's performance is. Bill comes backstage to tell Eve good job after the show, And Eve is basically like, yeah, I know you want me, come get me. And he like, no, bye. So she throws a fit. Addison was outside listening. He comes in. All of a sudden, she switch on a dime, and she's the sweetest little girl. Got to go in and take a shower, and then they can go have dinner. Now her and Addison are besties. She don't know Addison heard all that. She thinks she tricking everybody. Okay. So Margo and Bill end up inviting Karen and Lloyd to dinner, where they reveal to them that they are engaged and getting married. But then Karen gets a note from Eve asking her to meet her in the bathroom. And Margo says, I have never needed you to go to the bathroom and talk to somebody so bad in my life. Please go to the bathroom and see what that girl wants. So Eve is like, I'm so sorry about that article, but I'm going to need you to make sure that your husband put me in his next show. And Karen's like, why would I do that? She said, oh, because I know that you made sure that Margo ran out of gas on the way back. And I done already told Addison, so we could write about that. We could write about whatever you want. Or you could just put me in that show. Karen gets back to the table, and Margo's like, hey, you know that show that Lloyd was writing for me? You should put somebody else in it, because I don't think I want to be in it no more. Karen starts bust out laughing, because she like, wow, everything is solving itself. Who knew? Surprise, surprise, everything did not solve itself, because now Eve is calling at all hours of the night to speak to Lloyd. And Karen got to watch her husband get up and go to Eve at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because she's upset. Surprise, surprise, she is not really upset at all. Addison comes to see her the night before the show, and she's giddy because not only does she have the show, but she's finally going to get her man. Because Lloyd is supposedly going to leave Karen and be with her. Addison said, wait, hold on. Actually, that's incorrect because you belong to me, actually. She laughed in his face, and that man cocked back and slapped her with the fire of 5,000 suns. He said, I know your name ain't really Eve, it's Gertrude. I know there was no Eddie, and the reason that you left was because you slept with someone's husband. I know you tried to get with Bill, and he said no, and I also know that the reason you got this part was because you lied to Karen and told her that I knew something that I did not know. So you better get on the Addison train, because that's the only thing you riding out of here. I don't even know if shook is the word to describe what she was, but she was not expecting all that. So she ain't got no choice. She's Addison now. And now we back 6 months later to her winning this award. And along with Addison, she thanked Lloyd, Karen, Bill, Max Fabian, and Margo during her speech. She even went to Margo to give a personal thank you, to which Margo basically said in 1950s speak, get the fact out my face. Addison invites her to the after party, and she said, just take the award to the after party. They don't even care about me. I'm about to go home. She gets home, and there is a fan waiting for her at the house who now volunteers to be her assistant. So now Eve got her own Eve. Yes, this is an amazing story that is very well acted with amazing actors. But the reason I love this movie so much is because this is what Kermit and Miss Piggy should have been. It even looks like them a little bit. This would actually be the perfect film for the Muppets to remake.